This is Brian Finley with the Lenovo Big Data Center of Competency. Today, we're going to be using our solution configuration tool, Xconfig, or LESC offline, to open one of our predefined reference architecture configurations and modify it to support a small production and development environment in the same rack. Let's get started. We're going to click on Customize now that we've identified the configuration we want to start from. Now I think we only need 4 nodes for the production environment, so I'm going to start by removing multiple copies. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to leave a 5th one there, and we'll see why in just a minute. So let's remove those. Click on Remove up there. We'll wait a second. Okay, great. Now, I'm going to right-click and edit this data node. And then when that pops up, we're going to simply rename it by adding a -dev at the end. Let's save that. Now this is critical. If we say all copies of this item, then all 5 of those data nodes will be renamed and we will still have one class of data node. The goal here is to leave the existing class of data node and to create a new one that we can treat differently for the development environment. So I'm going to say this copy of this item for this rack only. Now you can see that it considers all 4 of these the same. You'll notice that the color used to indicate that class of node, it's all the same for those 4, and then this 5th class of node has a different color. Now that we've done that, we're going to duplicate and we'll add 2 more of those. And I'm going to say create an exact number. I'm going to create 2 more and they should be stacked just right on top. By default, Xconfig will stack additional nodes on top of existing nodes. Now, you know what I think we'll do is duplicate one of these big data management nodes. We'll create a single copy and it gets plopped right down here. We'll go to edit that. And we'll do the same thing with it up here. We'll call it dev. Again, just this copy. And now we have a big data management dev node as well as the data nodes, also dev. Lastly, we need to deal with the networking. So let's go into Preferences and Cluster Preferences. Now when that opens up, we'll see a different network that represents the 1 gig management network, the 10 gig data net number 1 and number 2. And what we're going to do is we're going to replicate one of the data nets as dev and one of the management nets as dev. So let's start down here, and by clicking the twisty we can see the details, and we're just going to say add network, and we'll call it the same thing, 1 gig MGMT net -dev. Okay. Now let's open those twisties again, and we're just going to copy the same settings. Okay. So 7159 for the main switch. So we've got multiple choices, so we're going to get the HC1 ASY2. There we go. Great. And we do want to use a different color cable. That'll be helpful, won't it? When we're looking at the rack, to be able to see that the dev connections and the prod connections are a different color. That's all we have to do for the 1 gig. Now let's go up to the data net, and we're going to add another network, and we'll call it 10 gig DataNet1-dev. Okay, 10 gig DataNet1-dev. Okay, so we'll open the 10 gig DataNet1 twisty, and now the dev. So we're going to choose first network type. We're going to scroll up to 10 gig copper. Then we're going to go to choose the switch. We've got 7159 and 7159, and then we want the HCW ASRD. Great. So that's the Lenovo G8272. We don't need any trunks. Set that to 0, and the rest of this is the way that we want it to be. Now let's hit save, and OK. Now once that's been saved, we can now go to the dev nodes and edit those. And now that that's popped open, we can go in and say on the dev node, we don't want this node to be connected to the data 2 or the DataNet 2. And let's see, before we check that one, before we uncheck the DataNet 1, let's go ahead and say we do want to be connected to DataNet1-dev. And now we'll go over and uncheck DataNet 1. That's just to make sure that we don't completely remove the chosen network adapter and then reselect it with a different one. We're also going to do the same thing down here with the 1 gig management net. Let's choose the new one first. And then let's deselect the existing one. Now we can go to the original versus current selections, and I forget. It doesn't show us changes that we've made to the networking. That's okay. We can now hit save. Although it doesn't show us changes we've made to the networking, it does confirm that we haven't changed a network adapter. We would see colored lines up there to show the differences. Pink for things that are removed from over here, and blue for things that are added over here. So I'm going to say save. This time I'm going to say for all copies of this item, because this is going to apply to all of the DataNode-dev items. Now, lastly, and you'll notice, look at that. We've got 2 new switches that have popped in there for the dev environment. Last thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the BigDataMgmt-dev node and do the same thing. So let's make those same changes. Uncheck the old DataNet. Select DataNet1-dev. Deselect the other production DataNet. and we'll select Management Net Dev. We'll deselect the other management network. And now we can double check original versus saved. No changes there. That's great. We'll hit save on that. All copies of this item, again, it's only for the items that are BigDataMgmt-dev. We've only got one of them here. And that is the core of it. Other details are things that are niceties, such as you could locate all of your development equipment at the very bottom of the rack by moving down the development switches, for example, and all of your production equipment at the top of the rack, but these things are not required. Adjust to your taste. Save and export those changes, and then you have your configuration that is ready for pricing and manufacture. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.